Hey, Todd Burrier from toddburrier.com. So I'm going to talk just a tiny bit quickly today about the impact to the customer when the leadership in an organization has a position-based mentality. So, when you think about the natural structure of most organizations, they look like this, which inherently this is a great structure, right? It's solid, it's got a nice flow to the way decision making can be made, the way information can flow, etc. It's fine, and obviously it's been working for a long time. So the problem is not the structure, but occasionally the problem is in the mindset in the structure. You see, inherently inside this structure, right, this authority pyramid, which is how most things look, each layer is focused on pleasing the layer above them, right? That's just the nature of how it works. Which again is fine, except the focus issue is a problem. Because when you're focused on pleasing the person above you, you're missing the fact that the customer base is in the other direction. And so, again, if the mindset of the organization from a cultural perspective is a servant base, this is not an issue. But when the mindset inside of the structure is about position, you must do what I say because I said so, because I'm here. This is where you are operating based on position power. And position power is extremely short-sighted. Position power is when numbers rule, not people. And all businesses are only as good as their people, and they're only as good as their people care about the actual business. And this is where it all goes wonky. And I had a couple of experiences recently I wrote about in a blog that share this, right? And one was a company getting it right, and one was a company getting it wrong. And the company that got it wrong, this was the second experience I'd had in this company over a significant period of years, because that's how long it took me to go into this establishment again. And it wasn't the same establishment, it was just the same chain in a different state. And my experience was the same. In other words, really bad, memorably bad. And I don't blame the people who are working there. It's based on the leadership. You could tell that organization's leadership was focused on positional thinking. And so their focus was short-term numbers. They weren't thinking customer first, and which means they weren't thinking people first inside of their organization to start with. You see, when your mindset is focusing on pleasing the person above you out of the control, fear, all that stuff that goes with that, what you end up is you have a lot of scarcity thinking, you have a lot of undermining, you have a lot of backstabbing, you have a lot of, you just name it. Think of everything negative that you could have happen inside of a company, and the things you see that are negative inside of a company. And that's what you foster in this scarcity-based, position-based, no trust environment. And all of that bleeds out into your customer base. So it ends up being a very, very short duration to what could be something long-term, because it will eventually blow up, because that's what happens to things that operate based on fear, right? Anything that's based on fear will ultimately blow up. Whereas if you flip it, right, and I teach this in servant leadership, but I'm talking about it right now based on the impact on the client base out here. When you look at it from the perspective of the leadership in an organization and serving that organization, that trickles right out into the customer. And so what ends up happening is in this environment, you have people that are tense and stressed and fearful and worried and who have low trust, who are just spewing that out on the customer because they're given very difficult scenarios to operate in. And so the customer or the client feels it both in practice and in person, which does not lead to retention, especially in today's world of portable loyalty where, man, people are only loyal to people. That's it. They're only loyal to people. If you don't treat someone well, they're not going to do business with you again, ever. And not only are they not going to do business with you, they're going to tell lots of people, don't do business with them. That's just the way it is. Bad news travels way faster. Where over here, when the people feel valued and they feel empowered and they feel cared about and they feel listened to and they feel like their ideas matter and they feel like they that they're trusted to do things. Wow, they have a sense of security that allows them to be creative and bring their own flair. In other words, they show up as a human being and engage with the customer because they feel good, right? I mean, this is the definition. The difference here over here is, right, you have to follow, you got to do what's said. Here, people want to be here. They want to be participating. And so the customer feels that too. And all you got to do is think about it, right? That I mentioned the poor experience, and the other organization I went into, it was an incredible experience. And I not only will I go back, but I'll tell lots of people about it, because from A to Z, it was fabulous. And it's because you could see that the leadership focused on serving and developing and growing and empowering and caring for the people that worked for them. And that just spilled right out over to me, the client, all the way through. So simple. This is so simple. And so 3 quick things to think about. 1, invest in your people, and invest in yourself too, but invest in your people. Train them and listen to them. Spend time with them. 2nd is empower them. Encourage them, delegate decision making to them, and give them the levels that that makes sense to delegate, but do so because it shows high trust, and it's how you grow and develop people. And then share what you see that's good in them, and why you believe in them, because that makes a huge difference for people. And then the 3rd thing is be a model, be an example of it yourself, because you can't do it unless you can't teach it unless you're doing it. You can't expect other people to do it unless you're doing it. So this is really simple, really fast, but the bottom line is, if your culture is not based on this mindset, even if it's in this structure, it's not going to last very long. That's just the way it is. But if you can get into this mindset and teach it and foster it and develop it in your organizations, now you have something that's massively sustainable and expandable. Hope this is helpful. Have a great day.